This week, President Milei attended his first G20 summit, being held in Brazil, and true to form, he didn't hold back. From ideological clashes with world leaders to a critical meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, there's a lot to unpack here. Milei's G20 debut was anything but conventional. Known for his radical libertarian views, he went to Rio de Janeiro with a mission to challenge what he calls globalist agendas. Milei rejected large parts of the G20's draft final declaration, calling out what he sees as contradictions in its stance on gender equality and climate change. He specifically criticised the inclusion of the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, describing it as a blueprint for global control. This stance put him at odds with most world leaders, including summit host and Brazilian President Lula da Silva. According to insiders, Milei's resistance even delayed consensus-building discussions during the summit. At the heart of Milei's objection is his belief that these measures infringe on national sovereignty and individual liberties. But this wasn't just about ideology. Milei's rhetoric on the world stage reflects his political brand back in Argentina, where he's been rallying against bureaucracy and global organizations like the G20 and the UN since day one. The tension between Milei and Lula wasn't surprising. The two leaders couldn't be more different. Lula is a leftist champion of multilateralism and Milei a libertarian firebrand. Their clash came to a head over Brazil's proposed global anti-hunger initiative, which most leaders quickly endorsed. Milei initially abstained, arguing that such initiatives often lead to ineffective spending and undermine self-reliance. But eventually he backed the resolution, but the damage was done. Lula publicly criticised Milei as a spoiler, accusing him of undermining unity in the face of global crises. Amid the controversies, one of Milei's most significant moments was his meeting with China's President Xi Jinping. Despite his past criticism of communism and his labelling of China as a murderous regime, Milei acknowledged the importance of this relationship. China is Argentina's second largest trading partner and a critical source of financing. The two countries discussed ways to improve trade balances, particularly in agricultural exports like soybeans and beef, as well as lithium, a key resource for China's tech industry. In September alone, Argentina imported $1.38 billion from China, but only exported $427 million, highlighting a glaring trade deficit. Milei also raised concerns about China's restrictive policies on processed soy and other high-value products, which heavily limit Argentina's export earnings. On the other side, Xi reaffirmed China's interest in continuing large-scale investments in Argentina, including the long-stalled Patagonian dam projects. Milei's diplomacy isn't limited to Beijing. His alignment with Donald Trump and former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro suggests a broader strategy of forging ties with nationalist and conservative leaders. While this approach may appeal to his base, it raises questions about how Argentina navigates between superpowers like the US and China. By meeting with Xi and maintaining ties with Trump, Milei seems to be walking a tightrope, balancing ideological purity with practical necessities. Some call it a shrewd move, while others see it as inconsistent and opportunistic. But what does all this mean for Argentina? With inflation soaring and foreign debt piling up, the country desperately needs international partnerships. Milei's confrontational approach may resonate with supporters back home, who see it as a stand for sovereignty, but critics argue it risks alienating key allies when Argentina can least afford it. Javier Milei's first G20 summit was as dramatic as expected. From his ideological clashes with Lula to his pragmatic outreach to Xi Jinping, he's made his mark. But at what cost? Is this bold leadership or reckless diplomacy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. If you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee in the link below, and I'll see you next time.